Hi, welcome. You're here in the metal workshop of the WdKA Academy. My name is Raymond Molendijk and I am one of the instructors of this metal workshop. On the menu today, we're going to start how to learn how to make a welding. And to be a little bit more specific, we're going to start learning to do the basics of MIG welding. Welding is making a joint between two parts of metal or more with heat by melting them together. What we're going to learn is, what we're going to do today is make this assignment is just making a few things we're going to learn. First, we're going to make you how to make some spot weldings, how to make some lines, how to connect two pieces of metal together, make a fillet welding, it's a corner welding, an inside welding, and even write down your name. Yeah. Okay, this is for instance. We're going to work with the MIG welder. It's this machine. But before I continue with my speech, I will tell you a little bit about safety. MIG welding is quite easy to learn. It's just pushing one button. That easy is it. So I think everybody can know it. But you also need some sort of a common sense. What you shouldn't do is wear clothes like these. These are synthetic clothes. It's really flammable. It's trash. Don't do it. Get rid of all really flammable liquids, paper, other stuff. What you should wear is leather clothes, like an apron and a jacket. Also, protect your skin as much as possible. It has a high UV radiation. You can really quickly get a sunburn. So I think within a few minutes, if you need a nice color for the weekend, a few minutes you need, then you have a really nice color, definitely, 100% guarantee. Okay, this is a welding machine. How does it work? It works almost the same principle as a light bulb. I'll show you how it is. Light bulb has a plus wire and a minus wire, and inside the light bulb you have a really thin filament wire. Electricity flows through a thick copper wire into the light bulb, meets the thin filament. So there it will be pressed through this filament. You will have resistance, and due to the resistance you have with the light bulb, you have light and warmth. The same works as with the welding machine. This is my plus wire. This is my minus wire. This clamp is on my table, so my table is now minus loaded. And this thread, which comes out, is the filament. And if I want to weld it in here, nothing will happen. But when I just hold it a little bit on the table, and if I start pushing now the button, you start welding, because then we have an electrical circuit. Also be aware when you want to weld painted materials, paint doesn't conduct electricity, the same as rusted material. Next thing I'm going to tell you about is the gas. During the welding, when you push this button, not only this thread will come out, but you can also hear a gas floating. I hope you can hear it. It's a non-flammable gas. What does it do? Metal is liquid between the 15 and 150 Celsius degrees and the 2400 Celsius degrees. When it's become 26, it's still a liquid, but when it's becoming hotter than 24, the substance will change. The metal will become so hot that it almost will burn by itself. It becomes, after this material has been cooled down, it's very hard, it's really breakable, it's really, it has absolutely none constructional value. So we have to stay in this temperature between these. Okay, back to the gas. What does it do? I'm going to draw this part. And this is the thread that comes out, and this is the piece of metal you are starting to weld. During welding, you will see here an electrical arc or electrical sparkle. So when oxygen reaches your sparkle, the temperature of your welding will rise to 2600. That's not what we want. What we want is in here. So what does the gas do? It's non-flammable. It's protecting the gas from the oxygen. So the oxygen stays in here. During the welding, what is really important is the length of your thread, because if the distance is more than 8 or 12 millimeters, so this length is 8 till 12 millimeters. If it's longer, for instance 16 or 20, what will happen then? You will have here, the gas will float away from here to here, so the oxygen can crawl underneath and will reach your welding. So then the material will get too hot and will go to the 2600 Celsius degrees. Which is really important is the length that of the thread is between the 8 and 12 millimeter. How do you measure it? Very simple. In every welding cabin you will find these pliers. What are you going to do with it? Well, we use them for three things. Okay, the tip of the plier, you're going to use it for cleaning up the nozzle. Second thing is, learn to carry on the material with the clamp, not with your bare hands or with the gloves, because this is really hot and you will burn your fingers. And the third thing, when you hold the plier in here, you cut it off. This length is 8 millimeters, and that's what we want. Okay, this was the end of the fun part. Now we're going to start welding. I'm right-handed. You hold your that's why I hold the pistol in my right hand. If you're left-handed, you hold it in your left hand. My trigger finger is for pushing the button. The first thing you're going to do is cut it off on the right length. The tip you will let touch your material, and I want my pistol in this position. I don't want it straight up, because then you're polluting your tip. I don't want it hold it in this corner, because the gas will float away and the oxygen will enter your welding. No, I want it almost straight up, just like this, 75 degrees. That's good. My left hand you're going to use for support. You use it. You can hold it during the welding in here, so your pistol will be supported the maximum. That's the second thing you're going to do. The thread comes out through this thick cable. You also have to notice that there aren't too much curves in it. I don't want any curves in it, as less as possible. So keep it as straight as possible. Okay, before I start welding, I have to put on my welding gloves, my welding helmet, that's for protecting my eyes. This brand, I have to turn it on. I'll turn it on. I need some exhauster. Pistol almost straight up. Look at if there isn't any curve and try to look what you're doing. So the distance is 8 millimeters and keep it this distance. Okay, 1, 2, 3. And again, I want 6. 1, 2, 3. You may also say it in German. 1, 2, 3. In Nederlands mag ook. 21, 22, 23. Or even Korean. Hana, 2, set. And the last one. 1, 3. Okay. This is what you have when you made the welding spot. You will see here. You'll see the welding spots. The thread which came out of your pistol has melted and became into this welding spot. Why 3 seconds? I will explain it to you. If I make a welding spot, if I have 1 second, you won't add too much material. This drop won't be hot enough. You will have very small penetration of this drop. When you have 3 seconds, you have more volume. This will stay this will stay hotter. This will also melt, and because this is also melted, and after when it's cooled down, you have a good penetration. So 1 second is too less. 3 seconds is good enough for 3 millimeters thick material. So we have a good penetration. This is melted together, and this is very weak. When I go back to the piece of metal I welded, and when you look carefully, you see around the spots, you see a circle. And that's the penetration of it. This is a small magnet. You take your second piece of metal, you put it on the magnet, and what I want is an opening, is a V opening, a V gap. This is the side view, and I want, and here's the magnet with the opening in it, and here I want a small gap of 0.5 millimeter and maximum 1 millimeter. Again, hold your pistol in the right position, almost straight up, and then we go again. 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3, and again. 1, 2, 3, and again. Oh, keep it just a little bit so. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Always make some connection spots, because for 2 reasons. First of all, when you make those connection spots and you find out, oh, this is not the right angle, you just put it in here, and with a vise, you can get it in the right angle. The second thing is, if you start welding this fore opening immediately, your material gets so hot, the the opening will go like this or like this. Next thing you're going to learn is how to make some welding lines. So I want 4 lines. And what we're going to do is you put it in here, and which is really important is, again, that you have to hold your pistol in the right position, in the same angle, on the right distance. So don't go like this or like this. Try to hold it in this position. Don't even go too fast, because when you go too fast, you have the 1 second story. So it has absolutely any of the constructional value. Okay, first line. I'm going to do it. I'm going to push the button and just hold it in this position. And you keep your pistol in the right position. And when you hear this sound, you know that you're doing a good job. The second line I will go too quickly. You have this result. You have a really thin line. It's the 1 second story. The third line, I'll hold my pistol in the wrong position, so the gas will float away. So my welding will become too hot. And you hear there's already a different sound, a little bit more harder. And then the last thing, I make my welding too slowly. And what will happen is that you will weld through your material. You will almost blast your materials away. And here goes. Okay, let you show you the results. This is the first result. It's a nice clean welding. This is a very thin line. It's the 1 second story. I'll just show you on the board. Here I let it escape. So there was a lot of oxygen entering my welding, and you see all those small holes in it. It's really weak. It has absolutely none constructional value. The last thing, I was welding too slowly. And you'll see that you will have the material melt through the material. Yeah, that's the 4 lines. My aim is that you make 4 of those lines. I don't want to see these things, 4 of those good lines. The fillet welding is welding the corner, the outside corner, and what we're going to do is just put some welding inside the gap so it will be filled up. So we need the exhauster, and again keep your left hand for supporting and you gently go forward. Again the pistol almost straight up, and then we go gently, gently, gently. You go forward, just fill up the gap. And again, gently you go forward. At the end you have here this result. It has a really nice round shape. You hardly don't have to grind it anymore. The last thing we're going to do is an inside welding. You're not making a straight line backwards, because the inside welding you may do backwards, but you're making small circles. You go up and down, up and down. And every time when you're up, you hold it a little bit longer than when you're down. Yeah, so up, keep it a little bit longer, and down. So now I'm going to start welding the inside corner. And again, start welding, stay up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, up. So you have to add a lot of material, so the material will float very nicely. Stay up and down. And when you start welding, at the end, you will have this result. I'll show you. It's really hot, so please use your vise. And then you have this result. This was a tutorial for the basic instructions for welding. Thank you for your time. Thank you for watching. And I hope I will see you soon in the metal workshop. Bye.